So I just posted a video making one of these little ghosty characters, which I absolutely enjoyed. And I put a bow on the one. And so I have the little bow tutorial in that video. And I decided, well, actually my kid was like, you should give yours a witchy hat because hello, fan of witches. So I said, okay, let's do that. So I looked for a couple of tutorials. They failed epically. And so I just kind of came up with my own little witchy hat design. So I'm going to share that with you guys today in case you too want to make a cute little witchy hat. Boop. For a ghosty or just for display. So a couple of things about yarn choices before we get started. This one turned out really cute. I just had a bunch of leftover yarn and I thought these are perfect colors actually to make a little candy corn hat. So I did that, and so I will share as the video goes where I changed the yarn on that. I made some notes, but I thought it was just really cute. So this is kind of a lighter weight yarn. It's this yarn right here. This is actually a 3-weight yarn. And for this hat, I used, where are you? Okay, I used a 5mm crochet hook. I use the boy hooks now. I have several other hooks. This is just a side note, but I like these for consistency because I have this one right here, and then I have another 5 right here, and they are actually pretty different in size. I think I've shared that before, but I end up getting a bigger gauge with this one, so I probably just need to get rid of it. I don't know. Anyway, so I used the boy hooks across the board for what I'm sharing today, I guess is my point. But I used the 5mm hook for this hat. Now this is the exact same yarn. It's the same yarn. It's the 3-weight yarn, same brand. It's actually the same color as this one. And for that one, I used the 3.75mm, which is as close to a 4 as I have. So you can see where that's like just about one size difference. And so that's just to keep in mind. This pattern, I think you could just keep going and going and going and make a larger hat if you wanted to with a really tiny point at the top. But also depending on your hook size, you can get a larger hat. This one's almost, well, not quite double, but it's a good bit smaller than this one, just from that one hook size difference. Now, let's put you guys over here. Now this hat, this little black hat, which is my favorite so far, it's got a little more like firmness to it, I guess you could say. This one's a little more wobbly. And this one, I used this black yarn, which is a 4-weight yarn, but it's kind of fuzzy. And I used a 5mm hook. I used the 5mm hook for this one. So you can see, come here. So size-wise, they're pretty close to the same. I used the same size hook on these, even though this is about a heavier weight yarn than this one, right? Just things to think about as you're making these, because if you want a smaller hat, then you would use like a lighter yarn, a smaller hook. If you want a bigger hat, then you would use maybe a floofier yarn and a larger hook, okay? So for today's purposes, because I like the black hat, but this is really hard to show up on camera, I'm gonna actually use this white yarn because I feel like that shows up pretty well because it's rather thick. This yarn also is kind of, it falls apart. Like, it's a good yarn for dishcloths, but I'm struggling to use it for other things. So I'm going to use, this is a 4-weight yarn also, and something else to consider.
Just going on and on about the yarn and the hooks. I didn't expect to be doing that.
Hopefully it's helpful to someone. But you can tell this is the same weight of yarn. I don't know how well you can tell in the camera. So these are both a 4-weight yarn, and they're both pretty much the same size. However, this yarn itself, it has a little bit of a coarser texture than this one, in my opinion. So just things to think about.
Yarn choice and hook size are important.
So we are going to need a stitch marker for this, and we're going to start with a magic circle. So yarn over your palm just like that, loop toward the front, Loop this just in front of that yarn, and then take that one from behind, loop it over your finger, and voila, we have a magic circle. Okay, so now we're going to do a chain one, sort of yarn over through the circle so that we have a starting chain. So we have, or a starting stitch. So we have some place to go, okay? So we're going to do 6 single crochets inside of our magic circle. So there's 1, 2, pull that a little bit to keep that tail out of the way, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this pretty close, but not too close, because I want to be able to see where my stitches are for this first row. I just find it easier for myself to tighten it a bit more after that first row. So I'm going to go ahead and put my stitch marker right here in this stitch just behind my hook, just like so, that very first one behind the hook. And now I'm going to do just a single crochet in each one all the way around. So 1, 2, I always find this first one to be the trickiest to kind of see where I'm going. 5 and 6. Get in there. Okay, and then we're going to move our stitch marker right there. I feel like with all of the magic circles, it's always tricky. The first couple of rows are just tricky for me. All right, and then we're going to pull this a little bit tighter and close that circle up. Oh, my kitty cat just got the zoomies. Startled me a little bit. All right, and now we are ready to get into row 3. Okay, so now for row 3, we're going to do an increase row. So we're going to, oh, and also I turned this inside out. So it was kind of, we were working this way. I found that it's just easier to kind of turn it inside out. If you already do this style of crocheting where you create these little round sculptural sort of things, you probably already know that. It takes me a minute to catch on sometimes. Anyway, so in row 3, we're going to do an increase row. And the way we're going to do that is in the next stitch, we're going to do 1 single crochet. In the next stitch, we're doing 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And we're just repeating that going all the way around. So single crochet, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 single crochet, get that tail out of there, and then 2 in that next stitch. Okay, and then we are back to our beginning. Oh my goodness, this little shenanigans, do you actually mind? Hello. This is like the 3rd time I've had to do this row because of your shenanigans and your zoomies. What do you have to say for yourself? Anything? No? Just yes. What? No, I thought you were going to scurry away in shame, but no, none of that. All right, so now we are back at our next row, and we're going to take our stitch marker. The interruptions, the constant interruptions.
I can't work under these conditions, people. Okay.
So now we're just going to do a, okay, we're going to do a single crochet all the way around, just 1 crochet in each one for row 4. So just single, 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 9.
All All right, so that row is finished. I've moved my stitch marker. So we're going to just keep increasing. Kind of, you'll see the pattern emerge. So for row 5, now what we're going to do is single crochet, 2 single crochets in the same space. So in the next stitch, we're going to do a single crochet, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then all the way around. Oh, that's a little floppy. Single, and then 2 in the same stitch, all the way around. And then we're going to do that, move our stitch marker, and come back. I mean, what is this madness? What are you doing right now with the scratching and the madness? Oh, she's not under there. You little criminal. You distracting little criminal. What do you have to say for yourself? Anything? Could you just let mommy shoot her video? Just go here, take a nap. Just take a little nap. Phew. Okay, so we've finished that row, and now again we're just going to do a single crochet row all the way around. You should have 12. So just 1 single crochet in each stitch. And then we'll do another row of increase. So I'm sure you can kind of see where this pattern is going. So we're just going to keep doing that a few more times. And I don't want to make this really boring. I don't want to like show you each one. So I'm going to keep it as brief as possible. So this is row 6. I don't know if I even mentioned that. This is row 6, and we're just doing 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And then for the next row, we're going to do 3 single crochets and then 2 in 1 stitch. So you can kind of see where the pattern is going with this, right? And we're just going to keep increasing that way. So now we're going to do single crochet, that's 1, 2, 3 single crochet, and then 2 in the same stitch. So 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 2 in the same stitch all the way around. And so of course then we're going to do our 1 row of just a regular single crochet, 1 in each stitch, and then we're going to keep increasing that. So for the next part of this little video, because I'm sure you guys have gotten it, and I'm going to also post my pattern in the description, but that was round 6, right? So we did our round 7 rather, we did our 1, 2, 3 single crochets, 2 single crochets in 1, and now for round 8, I'm going to just single crochet all the way around. And I'm just going to let you know which row I'm on so that I'm not explaining that every time, because I'm sure you're all very capable of figuring this out, and I don't want to make this eternally long and boring. So let's get through these next few rows. So now for row 9, we're doing single 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2. Okay? And just repeat that all the way around. And then row 10, just single crochet, 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around, and you should end up with 18 stitches by the end of this row. And now for row 11, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 crochets, and then we're going to increase. So 1, 2 in the same all the way around. 2, 3, 4, 5, and increase all the way around till we get back to our happy little stitch marker. And for row 12, we're just doing a single crochet in each stitch around. And we're gonna kind of repeat this a couple of more times, these increase rows, and then we will get to the brim. So single crochet all the way around for row 12. Okay, so that was row 12, 21 single all the way around, and it should be 21 stitches total. You should have 21 stitches all the way around there. So now for row 13. Voila, we're going to do single crochet in the next 6 stitches. 2, 3, sometimes the yarn gets so stubborn and feisty. 4, 5, and 6, and then there's our 6, and then our increase. So 2 single crochets in the same. So you can kind of see that pattern that's happening. So again, all the way around to the other side. And then row 14 will be a single crochet all the way around, and then I will meet you guys back to start the brim. Just finished row 13, moved my stitch marker, and now I'm going to do single crochet all the way around for round 14. And I forgot to mention that after you are done, you should have a count of 24 stitches by the end of round 14. And then we will get into our adorable little brim, which is what makes the witchy hat a witchy hat. That one's being not very witchy hat. Witchy hat. All right, so now obviously if you wanted to make your hat taller, perhaps a little pointier, you could keep going in this manner, right? Like you could do a couple more rows. You could then, if you wanted to do row 15, for example, you would do 7 single crochets. What is this? And then you would do your increase and then do a row of single crochet, and then you could do 8 single crochets and an increase. So you could actually make it quite a tall little hat if you wanted. And that's what's so fun about doing creative projects. You can make it whatever you want to make it. You could also stop at this point and make it a little shorter. Like you could stop a little shorter. Sorry, my brain just went somewhere else. So you could make it a little shorter if you wanted to. You could make the brim wide. Like you can just customize these things. Very simple pattern. So just a couple of notes before we move on. I will try to remember to put this in the, like up here somewhere in the corner as well. But on this one, if you wanted to make a little candy corn, so where I changed the yarn on this one, on between rows 14, so the end of row 14, the beginning of row 15, I went from the white to the orange. And then, no, sorry, I'm looking at the, okay, let's just back it up. We'll just ignore that part. So between rows 8 and 9 is when I changed to the orange. So at the end of row 8, the beginning of row 9, I changed from this kind of whitish beige color to the orange. And then on between row 14 and 15 is when I changed to the orange to the yellow. I changed from the orange to the yellow. I'm sorry, you guys. I did not sleep much last night. And I feel like I am not quite mentally with it today. So anyway, I will try to also remember to put that up there, and I'll put that in the description when I link the pattern as well. Now for the brim of our hat, we want the brim to push out away from the rest, the little cone part of our hat, right? So you see how it kind of just wants to bloop on its own. To do that, we're going to be working in the front loops only. So when you're looking at a crochet project, if you haven't done front loop or back loop only, if you put your hook through your stitch, you'll see how there are two little loops. This is our front loop. The one facing us is the front loop, and this one away from us, we're going to call the back loop. This yarn's not being super cooperative. There we go. So you can see that division, right? So we're going to be working just in this front loop right here. So we're just putting our crochet hook through the front loop of this next row. So this is row 15, and what we're going to do is increase all the way around. So single crochet still, so I'm going to do 1 single crochet and then 2 in that same loop, and I'm going to do that all the way around. So just working in the front loop, single crochet in the same, and all the way around. So the thing with this too, come here, with this yarn being a little bit of a lighter weight yarn, if you start to work this way and the yarn kind of leans over, it's easy to miss that next stitch. So just be aware of that. So kind of keep your yarn pulled away just gently so that you don't end up skipping any stitches. So we're just going to do that all the way around, and you can see how even already it wants to sort of bend toward us just a little bit. So I'm doing that all the way around, 2 single crochets in each front loop all the way around. Should have 48 stitches when you're done by the time we get back to our little stitch mark. All right, so now we're going to be working through both loops again. Okay, so straight through the stitch, the entire stitch, boom, right here. And I used half double crochets. 1, because I was getting a little antsy by this point and I just wanted to get the brim done. And 2, I thought they would look kind of cute. Mostly 1. So you could, if you wanted to, continue around with single crochets through both loops until you get the brim size that you want. But I am doing half double crochets. And so if you're not familiar with the half double crochet, you yarn over, and then we're going to go through our stitch, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, and then pull through all 3 loops. And again, yarn over, through the entire stitch, yarn over, pull through all 3. So this just kind of bulks it up a little more quickly. I tried a double crochet. I felt like the double crochet was a little too loose. I liked the tighter knit of the half double crochet. And at this point, yeah, like I said, you can make your brim as wide or as petite as you like, but I am going to do my half double crochets in each in each stitch all the way around until we get back to our stitch marker, and then we will finish it up. Finishing up my last half double crochet, I'm going to move my stitch marker. And now you could finish it here if you're happy, if you want a little bit of a shorter witch hat. In fact, after I was looking at these, I was like, oh, sometimes the brims are actually a little shorter than the ones I made. But since we're in it to win it, and you know, these are the ones that are advertised, I'm going to show you what I did with my last row. And basically my last row, I just decided to go in with 1 row of single crochet just to add a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more of a width to it, and to finish it up. So just 1 single crochet in each full stitch all the way around, and that's it. Again, do what you want, decorate her how you want. Now that I have this little white witchy hat, I'm wondering if I'm gonna like decorate it with something because it just looks so plain. I don't know. It needs a little zhuzh. We'll see. We'll see what I have in my cabinet, or I might just leave it like it is. Who knows? Or I might just end up frogging it out and using this yarn for something else. I just do still have some little mini ghosties to make. So Who knows? We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to quit rambling. I'm going to finish this row, and then I will show you guys how to finish off the tails. So here we are, very last stitch, and what I'm going to do is slide my hook into that space where the stitch marker lives. I'm going to stick my stitch marker through this piece of paper, over here, come here, or right here. It kind of prevents it from falling on the floor and into our crazy carpet inadvertently. So, boom. So here we are, and I'm going to yarn over, and I'm just going to pull that through, and it is a slip stitch. Pull my yarn through, cut that, and then we're going to tie our tails in. So I have this lovely plastic needle that I love for these crochet projects because it doesn't get snagged on the yarn. Wow, that takes a special set of skills. All right, let's try that again. I'm going to blame everything on being tired today, on being tired and a distracting, adorable kitty cat. So you see how this has, it looks like a little chunk bitten out of it just because of kind of where it lands. I'm just going to take my yarn through here, just smooth that out a little bit, and then work my yarn through some loops back here. Let me get that in the camera so you can see it. And just secure this yarn off through a few stitches. I feel like I always go way overboard with this, but I'd rather not have any random bits of yarn falling out anywhere. I mean, you know, better secure than sorry. And for this one, I'm going to flip it inside out a bit. Boom. And do the same thing. Just kind of tuck that yarn through a few stitches like so, and so. All right, and then cut that, flip it back right side out, and we have our hat. So one thing you'll notice, again, like this little hat, he's a little more, oh, come back, don't fall off the table, a little more stable. You can take the tops. I kind of like that little sort of crinkle at the top. I don't know, it's just, to me, it makes it feel more wizardy, more witchy. This yarn, you can tell it really wants to curl up a little bit, so maybe your witch wants to have a little boat hat. I don't know. So anyways, this is something to play with. So I like how they're a little bit more flexible, some of them. The candy corn one, if I had to do over again, if I were to do it over again, definitely probably just with a smaller hook so that it also ends up being a little less prone to wobbles and wiggles. And here, just because, you know, it's candy corn, it's supposed to be pointy, right? A little more pointy and flat. And I would probably also leave off the single crochet row on this one, because just to make it a little shorter and a little more candy corn reminiscent. Is that the right word I'm looking for? I don't know. And so, and here is the one we made today. Again, I'm just gonna give it a little lift, a little twist, a little, kind of makes me think of like the little hats on Animal Crossing where they have the little, you know what I mean? Does anybody know what I mean? Am I the only adult here who plays Animal Crossing? Who knows? It's okay. So anyway, so here are the little witchy hats. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I hope you learned a few new crochet things today. And if you did, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel, sharing this tutorial with friends. And if you guys have any things that you would like to see me try to crochet or are struggling with, I would love to try to help you figure that out. It's kind of a thing I do. I can't make promises, but I do try. All right, guys, so have a wonderful, happy Halloween, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.